Hello, thank you so much for joining me for today's video. My name is Sasha Reed, and today I want to share with you how to make some cards using stencils and various pastes. I've also got at the end of my video a tutorial on how to make your own glitter paste using whatever you might have in your stash, so stay tuned for that if you want to see how you can make your own. So for this video, to get started, I'm using these creative stencils from CraftStash. I've got this circle one here, which actually looks like a flower sort of shape when you're finished. And I'm just using some of my white washi tape, and I am adhering down my stencil onto the center of my card. And I believe this was a 5x5 bit of cardstock. I basically measured the stencil and then created a background that would fit. This is some Nuvo glitter paste. I will do my best to link everything I show you in the video down below. That way, if you want to find it yourself or see more details about the product, you can click the link and you can read more information about them there. So all I'm doing is using one of my spatulas, and I'm just applying this glitter paste over the stencil and trying my best not to get it outside the little areas. The tape does help a bit, but you'll see in a minute, I do get a little bit of a smudge outside of it. So then I peel it off and we get this beautiful end result. And then my next one, I'm using the same stencil again, but this time I'm using a different glitter paste. I'm going to do the same technique and put my tape down to kind of hold my stencil in place, just so that it doesn't shift while I'm doing it. And this time I've got this pink glitter, and I will link that down below, which is from iZinc, I believe is how you say it. And this I bought from CraftStash probably a year ago now, and I haven't used it. The only downside to this one is that you can't put it back in the squeezy pouch, but you do get a lot more in it than you would with other ones. But I did find it was slightly a little bit more liquidy. It wasn't liquidy at all, but you'll see when I lift up the stencil that it did go under the stencil a tiny bit in some of the areas. But the color is so stunning, and the product worked really nicely despite that, so I really enjoyed it. And now when I lift this one up, you'll see that I've got a little bit kind of smeared in those middle bits, but I don't mind. It doesn't really bother me. So I've set that one aside to dry. And I did do another one, which I clearly didn't film. I did the Nuvo mousse, which is the gold mousse. Now here I'm just sharing with you that my paper did rip when I pulled up that tape, because I used a washi tape rather than a low tack tape, and it ripped my paper. So my solution to this was just to get my scissors out and do a bit of fussy cutting and just cut around that edge and get rid of that, all that mess from that tape. So towards the end of the video, as I was saying before, you will see my gold mousse one that I had done, and you'll see sort of the end result when I put them all together and decorate it. So I apologize I didn't end up filming that one. I've got my Surprise Creation Shapes dies. These are the wonky stitch dies. I love this wonky stitched look. It's really fun. To find the one that I wanted that would fit this card, I just kind of put my little flower on top of it and then worked out which die would kind of go around the outside edge of it quite nicely and give me a bit of a border. So I just went ahead and cut again a circle out of the exact same cardstock. This is pearlescent cardstock from Lime Tree Craft. I will link it down below for you if you want to take a look. They're my favorite card company. I usually buy all my cardstock from them. Here's the same cardstock again. And what I'm doing is I am sticking this down with my Post-it note tape from AliExpress. And I've got it just over that edge, so that when I cut it, it creates a card. Now, as you can see on the middle there, I had a bit of ink kind of stain the front of that card, but it doesn't matter because I cut a second one anyways to give me that nice rounded circle look, because when I die cut it to make the card, you get kind of that one little edge that ends up being a bit flat. So I've just used my Nuvo glue and stuck that top bit on there, and I've got that beautiful front panel, and now I can go ahead and adhere down my glitter stencil look. Now, I really enjoyed this card. It really was quick and easy. I gave the glitter 24 hours to dry, and then I was able to just stick it together quite quick and easy. I've got these dies, these word dies, which come with a shadow outline from Tonic, and some of Alina's foil card from her shop. I will do my best to link all these down below, but I do forget really easily, so please do pop me a reminder if I have forgotten. So again, I've used that same pearlescent card and I've stuck it down onto my double-sided sticky back sheets. And then I have die cut it out. And so it hasn't cut all the way through, but it has cut that top layer. And I'm just layering that with 2 or 3 plain cardstock words. And then I'm going to stick the foil card on top of that, just to give it a bit more structure and a bit more bulk to it. It makes it easier to pick it up like that as well. The mat I've got is from Altenew, which I purchased from CraftStash about a year ago. And I really like it because I can stick down these words. And it's a no-stick mat, so it just lightly rests on top of it, which means I can layer up my dies and then I can pull it up really nice and easy without tearing anything. So I'm just sticking this top layer on, and it's just kind of give it that little bit more dimension to have those layers, but this is really thin and really fiddly. As you can see, those end bits there are really quite narrow. So once I've stuck it all down, I then give it a bit of a firmer kind of rub with a bone folder, but not too hard because you don't want to rip that foil on the top of the card. But I just made sure to press it down nice and tight so it wasn't going to go anywhere. And then all I need to do here is just trim my edges. So it would have been better if I had done that before I'd adhered it to the card, but never mind. I wanted it to kind of fit the flower sort of shape, so I'm just sort of marking it with a pencil and then changing it myself so that it will fit onto the front of my card and still be central as well. So that's all I've done for that one. Then to adhere it onto the card, I'm going to use my Ranger Multi-Medium glue. It just is a very strong glue that is meant and designed for different mediums. I've got my Arteza pencil case, which I stuck on top for about an hour just to make sure it was dried nice and solid. And then I went and die cut another circle using the smaller die. And I've got these mindfulness stamps from CraftStash, which I'm going to use to stamp on the inside of my card. Just something a bit extra, a little bit more of a sentiment. Using my Tim Holtz stamping platform. I've got this VersaFine Onyx Black ink. This is my favorite black ink to use on silicone stamps, which is what these ones are. They're not photopolymer, they're silicone, so it works really nice with those. And again, I'm going to adhere that onto the inside of my card, and that finishes the first card off. So it was really quick and easy to put these together. I've got big plans to go and basically use up the rest of my glitter paste and make a whole bunch more. So this one I decided to go for a square card, and I've got these wonky dies again from Surprise Creation. And I decided to make my card base just the same as I did the circle one, but I've used my 12 by 12 cardstock from Limetree Craft because this became a 6 by 6 card. So in order for me to have the 6 by 6 card, I needed it to be 6 by 12 inches and then folded in half. So that's why I used that scrapbooking paper there, or the scrapbooking card I should say. And so now, again, all I have to do is adhere it down, but this time I wanted to pop it up a bit and have a bit of a raised look. So I've got this fun foam, which I got from Alina's shop. It's a 3mm fun foam, and I've just cut it down to just slightly smaller than my square because I'm really good at getting things quite wonky. So I thought if I cut it just slightly smaller, it'll work better. I always get paranoid about foam coming loose with any kind of adhesive because it takes so long for a liquid adhesive to dry on like a plastic foam. So I picked up this stuff from a craft fair here in the UK about a year and a half ago. And it's really, really wide double-sided adhesive tape. So I can't give you a link for this because I can't even remember the shop I got it from. But it was brilliant. It cost me £5 for that huge roll. And all I'm doing is applying the double-sided adhesive sheets to both sides. Now again, you could use any double-sided adhesive sheets. You could use the ones that I often use from Alina's shop. They would work as well. I've just got this and I was trying to use it up. So I was putting that onto my foam instead of using one of those sheets. Now I'm just going to stick this back onto the back of the front panel and then just peel away my release sheets, which ended up being a little bit difficult to get my finger around, but never mind. And then I just pop that right onto the front of the card, and then I get this beautiful raised image. Now I've got the Believe die from Tonic as well, and I've done the exact same thing. I've stuck that double-sided sticky sheet on the back of my die cut before I die cut it out, and then it makes it so much easier to assemble these and stick them down. So again, just like before, I am just adhering down my words onto my non-stick mat and then layering them up, just because this is much easier than trying to layer them when I've got them already on that little bit of card. Now they are really stunning when they're done, but they are a bit fiddly because they are so skinny, but they are quite effective. Now this one I am again aiming for the middle and lining it up and then trimming off my edges, because again I forgot to trim my edges before I adhered the top panel on, but never mind. On this one I stuck the sticky back onto that base as well, so I could then stick it all down as one solid image. And then I've gone and done the same thing I did on the circle card. I've cut the smaller square for the inside, and I am going ahead and adding a sentiment on the inside of the card as well. And this one is from the same stamp set, the Mindfulness stamp set from CraftStash. And again, I'm just going to use some liquid adhesive to stick that down so that I've got that little bit of wiggle room when I put it in my card. So again, just a really quick big thank you for watching me and for following me on YouTube. I really do appreciate it, and I love when you leave me a comment. It is so nice getting these wonderful comments from you. I absolutely love seeing them and reading them. Now this is the card I was telling you about, which I somehow did not record. I swear to you I pressed record and clearly I didn't. I will use this paste again, so you probably will see it in a video. But this is a stencil from CraftStash again. And this is using that Tonic Nouveau Mousse, and you get a really cool gold effect. It looks like gold foiling, but it's just their mousse. So I was really pleasantly surprised with that. Again, I'm doing the same thing. I've got this double-sided sticky roll, which happens to be just as wide as my nice foam my foam square bit. And I'm just sticking that down so that I don't have to worry about any dry time with a liquid adhesive. And I always try and make sure to remember to use my bone folder to give that a firm rub. Otherwise, that adhesive might bubble up underneath and might not stick as well as it should. And again, here I am struggling with trying to find the end of that release sheet. And I'm just adhering it onto the front of a standard card base. And I've got this thanks die from Tonic. Now this one's not so fiddly, and in this case I just went with one layer. So I've got my double-sided sticky tape on the back, and I'm just doing the gold foil on top of my pearlescent card, and then just sticking it straight down in the middle of my card. And that kind of finishes off the front. And again, I've gone and used the same die and cut the wonky rectangle from Surprise Creation on the inside of my card panel. I just love having the layer, and I find it makes my card base a lot more sturdy. And on this one I decided not to add any sentiments on the inside. So that is the finished card, and those are my 3 stenciled cards. So now we're going to move on to making your own glitter paste. So I've got all these glitters from Alina's shop on AliExpress, and I've got these little bottles that I also ordered from AliExpress. These are just little squeezy bottles. I think they are around 5 mils. I also have these syringes, which I've shown you before. Those are not needles on the end. They are just a long syringe that you can use to suck up stuff, and I find it really helpful for getting into those tubes to get your glitter in. So the first thing I'm doing is using these little jars that I got also from Alina's shop. They're meant for using as storage, but I thought this was great for mixing my glitter paste. And I'm just taking you through all the different mediums I've got. So I've got this mixed matte medium, mixed media gel, and I'm using this first off to make my glitter paste. Now this was kind of an experiment as well, so I'll share with you at the end which one worked the best for me. They all worked, but I'll share which one worked the best. Now this was the tricky bit, was I originally tried sucking up this glitter with that needle on the front. Well, it's not really a needle, and I couldn't get it in because it was too thick. So I worked out that actually if I just use the syringe without the needle bit to suck it up, that worked. And then you'll see me in a second pop that little needle bit on the top just to put it back into the jar, because I find that you get these air pockets and you can't actually squish the glitter into the jar very easily. But if you put the needle thingy on, then you can just squidge it right back in, or right into that little jar. So that worked well. Then these little jars are from AliExpress as well. I believe they might have been from Amazon. I'll link it down below. You can see where I got it from. but they were very cheap. I think they were only a few pounds for a pack of about 100. And any leftover glitter paste that I had in the jar, I just scooped into one of these jars so that I could use them on like a stencil. So my idea was I was making like a stencil paste, but I also wanted to try out and make my own little like stickles or glitter glue. So that's why I've got those little squidgies as well. Now this one was very thick and I was really struggling to get it out. So I did snip the tip of it off. I don't think I put enough of the mixed media, multimedia matte adhesive in there. It just didn't work that great for me. So now I'm going ahead with the purple glitter and adding that into my jar ready for mixing. And again, I'm using the medium, the same medium, but I'm going to add more in this time and just see how that goes. I think I had too much glitter in that orange one. So instead of just adding more of the glue, I just thought I would make another one with the purple and see how we go and see what the difference was when they dried and compared them. So again, I'm trying enormously hard to suck it up with that little needle on the end, and it actually does work a lot better this time around. And you can see how quick and easy it is to then stick it into that little squidgy jar. So once it was full, I then added on the little nib on the top, and I've got that little scrap bit of paper there, which I am just kind of doing little dots like I would if they were stickles or Nuvo drops, and then a little line, and then I'm using my spatula to give a little kind of paste rundown. And again, I'm going to pop the remainder into a little jar so that I can use it on another project at another time, so I'm not wasting all that glitter or product. So these little jars are very handy. I've been using them for a lot of things. I've got this Nuvo Tonic glue. Now this is their more basic range. This is usually about £1 for this whole little tub. So I thought I would try this out and see how this went as a glitter paste or a glitter glue. So as you can see, I stuck some of that in the jar first before my glitter this time. And I'm just adding in a little bit of water because it is so thick that I thought it's not going to actually properly mix very well, and I definitely won't be able to suck it up in my syringe. So I've just added a bit of water into that and giving it a mix and then making my little paste that way. Now in between each one of these glitters, I went into my kitchen and washed everything out. I do have a couple needles, or a couple syringes, needles, sounds about it's like I'm junkie or something, like craft junkie. So anyways, so inappropriate, sorry. I went to the kitchen and washed all these out in between each one so I could then keep going and using them. So this did take me a little while, but through the process of videoing, I can speed this up nicely for you so you can just sort of see how I get on with them. So the reason I'm leaving all these in is so you can see what I've used, which medium I've used to make the glitter, and also so that you can see what the texture looks like and see kind of roughly what I've done with it and how much I've used of each. So this is my little technique on how I made up the glitters. Obviously you can use whatever glitter you got. This Alina glitter is very, very fine glitter. So it's really, really little. So it's easy to squeeze through bottles. And obviously you can see I can suck it up with that tiny syringe as well. And so it's just a really nice glitter to use. Now I did find in the end, after leaving these sit on my desk for a while, I think I left it for about a week, it did start to change the color of the medium that I used. So the color from the glitter was starting to seep into the glue. So it might not be a very good long life plan, but you could definitely make it up and use it as a paste on the spot. It didn't alter the glue color at all. Now this is using Mod Podge, so it's a lot more runny. I really dislike the smell of Mod Podge. It really stinks. I had to message a bunch of my craft friends one day and be like, does this stink for everybody or can I just not smell right? But it worked really nice with this glitter. So as you can see, it was really easy to get out the syringe and move around. Now I've got this homemade texture paste, which is basically PVA glue, baby powder, and something else. And I made this texture paste ages ago, and I just wanted to see what it would look like if I combined it with some glitter and whether I could get a glitter texture paste. Now it's very, very opaque, so you don't get that clear, really nice glittery show. I did like the result, but it's definitely not a glitter paste. It's more like a cement paste with a hint of glitter specks in it because they're not very shiny. You'll see a close-up of all these at the end of the video. Now I've got this other kind of gel medium, and it is really thick. This one's much thicker than the other version. This one's also a lot more expensive than the other version I first showed you. And this was one of the best results I think I had, was using this sort of matte medium, gel medium. And all I'm doing here is I'm using some of Alina's stencils, and I'm just running it over the top. Now, I didn't make any cards with these yet, and I didn't actually fully use the stencils on a project, but I wanted to share with you how you can make your own glitter at home using what you've got and what your results might look like, so that you can kind of have a bit of confidence when you go to make some. So I put it on some white card as well as some purple card to kind of show you how it looks on the different backgrounds. And then I'm going to go ahead and use another color, I believe, to share with you. It's always that guessing game of what did I do next in my video, because I can't see it as we're going. Ah yes, here we go. Here's my little cement version, and just to share with you how it spreads and how it looks when it's all dried as well. I did wait 24 hours before I took my photos to share with you my results. So this is a really fun process. I like to experiment with what I've got in my craft room, see what works the best, and it's quite nice when I can share that with you and let you sort of see and judge for yourself what you might be able to do at home with what you've got. Now I will link all the glitter down below. They're all new in Alina's shop in the past month. So here we are, this is the dried version. You can see it worked out quite nicely. It's really glittery, it's got a bit of sheen to it. It worked really nice as a texture paste. I really did like the end result of this texture paste mixed with the glitter. It looks quite cool. You get a really nice sort of opaque look. It is hard to see it close up, but there are photos that will show it a bit better. And there's the purple one on the white. And these stencils are quite fun because they give you a look of 3D stenciling, which is quite nice. I did go a bit heavy-handed there, which is why I got a bit of a blob. But those are the results of those glitters. Now on my other bit of cardstock, the one where I did the blobbies, the orange one, obviously as I said before, was too thick, so it kind of came out like a big hard ball of glue. But that purple and the pink are gorgeous. They worked out really nicely and they maintained their shape and their color, and look how shiny and gorgeous that blue is. I think the blue was with the Tonic glue possibly, so the glue looks really nice and really shiny. And it just worked out such a nice result, and I had lots of fun doing it. So I do plan to make some cards with some of these pastes and use them as a background. So when I do my big bunch of cards again with all my glitter paste, I will share that with you. So here are some close-ups of the photos I took at the end. I'm so grateful you joined me today, and I'm sorry this is a bit of a long one, but it's kind of an informative one as well. I like to try and share with you how you can do something yourself with what you might have at home. So please do think about subscribing if you aren't already subscribed. I would love to have you as one of my subscribers, and I would love to see you in the next video as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you're staying in and staying safe. Bye for now.